sorry. Spirit of life and love, may we find appreciation today and in our lives for our embodiment. We are physical creatures, mind, spirit, and soul housed within our bodies. Our bodies, our physical form, allow us to experience the world. Taste, chocolate chip cookies fresh from the oven. Touch, the warmth and smoothness of a baby's skin. Sight, the blossoming colors of sunrise and sunset. Sound, the laughter of friends and family. And smell, the aroma of fresh baked bread. In particular today, may we find gratitude for our sexuality. May we be grateful for and appreciate our gender identity, our sexual orientation, our physical selves. May we appreciate the pleasure and the intimacy that connection comes with and is part of our sexuality. May we also remember that for many, sexuality can bring a variety of emotions: shame, sadness, trauma, anger, pain, and hurt. For all the joys and goodness that embodiment brings, it also has its challenges: aching joints, long-term health conditions, and severe illnesses, and more. Today, as we honor the whole of ourselves, we also honor the whole spectrum of sexual experience, holding their joys in all their richness and sorrows in all the fullness of our hearts.
We invite you to rise as you are willing and able and join us in singing our first song.
So welcome to the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge. My name is Nathan. I'm one of your ministers online, folks. We are glad to welcome you here today as well. We have a few things for you to know. First, there are 4 things going on during middle hour. That's the time between the 2 services. There is in room 5, the parent support group for parents in tumultuous times. In room 6 is another rendition of Exploring Our Faith. It's open to visitor and member alike. In room 1 is going to be Grace Arkfeld. She's a part of LIFT. This is an abortion equity initiative organization, and she's going to be here to talk with the social justice sub-team on reproductive justice. So those are some of your middle hour options. The other option is a number of you donated jewelry to the church for us to sell. We have only sold about $18,000 of that jewelry. And what is left is available for you to try to buy if you want during middle hour. So that, online folks, I'm sorry, I guess if you know a church member, you want them to FaceTime and look at the stuff, you could. That's available. But for you in person, you have the option during middle hour to buy up some of that jewelry. Coming up on Thursday, we will have a potluck here for Thanksgiving Day. There's a sign up there. It's not required that you sign up, but you are welcome to sign up because that would help people know what is going on. Dottie, are you helping with that? If you have questions, just talk to Dottie. And then online folks, I pointed to a very helpful church volunteer named Dottie, who you probably know. And then the following Sunday, believe it or not, even though it was 85 degrees yesterday, is the first Sunday of Advent. We're going to have the tree up, and we're actually even going to have a tree decorating party next Sunday at 12:30? Immediately after the 11:30 service. So for you all, go home, get some brunch, and then come back to the party.
Even better, Nathan, they don't have to go home. We're having a potluck right before that.
During the service? No. So what I'm saying is if you're a 9 o'clock attender, go home, don't eat, cook the food, bring the food back for the potluck on Sunday that will happen before the decorating party.
12:30 lunch, 1:30 party.
12:30 lunch, 1:30 party. Thanksgiving potluck is, I have no idea, but there's a table out there and you will all know. Online people, someone was talking to me and I don't know the answer to what he asked, but it's right out there. I am glad to welcome you. Oh, one last thing. Today in our pulpit is our own Director of Family Ministry, Kathy Smith. This is an awkward lift for her to do, but she wanted to do it, which is this year is the 25th anniversary of Our Whole Lives, the sexuality education curriculum that we offer in this church. That is the newer version of its predecessor, About Your Sexuality. We've been doing age-appropriate sexuality education in this church and in Unitarian Universalism for probably 40 years. So anyway, so in celebration of that, that is what Kathy is preaching on today. I'm glad to welcome you all to church today.
So thank you, Nathan. I will just amend one slight thing. This is not actually an awkward lift. I am super comfortable talking about sexuality and sexuality education because I've been doing it for a while, and I am super happy to do it here because y'all have been so supportive for so long of sexuality education within Unitarian Universalism. So today's story, it's a lesson from a children's book by Sophie Beer called Love Makes a Family. And as we read it, I'm going to invite you to look at the pictures and listen to the words and see where you can find your family or your relationships in this story. There we go. Vic, if I could have the pictures on the back wall, it helps me a lot too. Thank you. Love makes a family. Love is waking up bright and early. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is baking a special cake. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is knowing where everything is. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is finding the biggest puddles. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is lending a helping hand. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is playing on the weekend. Love is also watching from the front row. I skipped a line. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is playing on the weekend. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is making things better again. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is washing away the day. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is reading one more book. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is chasing away monsters. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Love is a kiss before bed. Do you see yourself or your family in this story? Whether you have one parent, two moms, two dads, a mom and a dad, or another wonderful caregiver, there is one thing that makes every family a family, and that is love. That is one story about love told from the heart. I'm going to ask Don to read another story, also from the heart. Listen and see where you find yourself or your family in this reading.
May your courage be louder than the whispers, and may your glitter outshine their glares. May your love be stubborn as red dirt clay, and your joy roll on like prairie wind. Blessed are you who carve out rainbow spaces in skies that try to stay gray. Blessed are you who refuse to shrink, even when the world tells you to get small. Blessed are you who keep dancing, singing, laughing, and loving, because surviving here is holy work. May you know that you're never alone. Your queer ancestors walk beside you, and your queer family holds you. And your fabulousness is a revolution all on its own. May the haters get bored. May the bigots trip over their own feet. And may your sense of humor survive the nonsense. Keep dancing, keep loving, and keep being outrageously you. Because surviving here is a full contact sport. Darling, you are a champion. Go forth, beloved. You are divine proof that a rainbow blooms even in the dust.
I invite you to join me now in a moment of prayer. Spirit of love and compassion, that spirit which allows us to listen with our hearts as well as our ears, be with us today. Be with us as we look to the week just past, to the Trans Day of Remembrance, holding those who have passed and those who grieve for them with tender care. Be with us as we look forward to the week coming up, to Thanksgiving, the history of which contains so much pain for so many, and the celebrations which bring with them many precious memories and many complicated emotions. May we find within ourselves the grace and the courage to always learn one more thing, and the compassion for ourselves and others as we do so. For those who are struggling today with family, with worry, with fear, with illness, may you find today some measure of strength and peace. May you know that you are loved for who you are, and may you know that you are not alone. Amen, and so may it be.
We have a card this morning for our member Kay Zimmerman. We send her condolences on the death of her brother, Byron Gidcombe. And I also want to invite you all to a memorial service for Lang Baker, which will be held here on December 13th at 10 o'clock. In a moment, I'll invite you to come forward and place stones in the chalice. These can be stones to lay down anything you might be carrying and want to place here in the warmth of this community. Please come forward as you wish. With these words, we light our chalice. With hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is a symbol of the power of love.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
Nathan's prompt to the Preacher Pack. And for those of you who don't know, the Preacher Pack are lay folks that have chosen to work with the Worship Guild and with Nathan to present a service. And when you are doing that, it is often helpful to have a prompt to start with. Nathan's prompt is often, think of a religious story you've always struggled with and unpack that story. So, as a queer person, the story that I struggled with for many years was the story of what makes a family and what it is to be normal. My family of origin is pretty traditional-looking, white, working-class family with a strong Christian fundamentalist ethic, and the story about human sexuality that I was raised with was pretty simple and seemed fairly straightforward. One man, one woman, sex is for making babies, mama cares for family, papa works, etc. Pretty simple, right? Except in my family, there was an awful lot of confusion and anger and pride and grief and shame hidden within that seemingly simple story. You have to know my parents were born in 1919 and 1921. Yes, I was the child of older parents. Their life stories included teen pregnancy, a father who gambled away the rent money, a mother who left home to work, divorce and remarriage and addiction and unexpected death, and grandparents who, with varying degrees of grace, took care of their grandchildren when things got impossibly hard. So I'll give you an example as part of my dad's history. I knew the bare facts of this when I was growing up, that my dad's father died when he was 12. He was raised by his grandfather while his mother worked. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't know the whole story. I was in my 40s when I learned the part about what my grandmother actually did. So I want you to imagine a woman, a mother at that, in 1930s, northern Texas, southern Oklahoma, leaving home to be a traveling salesperson to sell advertising on movie theater curtains. So I didn't grow up with an understanding of how courageous and persistent and gritty she was. And the grief and the anger that that 12-year-old boy carried with him the rest of his life, that was never something we talked about either. So even that seemingly simple story got complicated fast. My parents held on very tightly to the mythology that their religion told them was the right way to live, but that had not been the lives that they had lived. And I think that tension was the source of a lot of unspoken shame and also motivation to enforce the right way, which they saw as a path to being a successful, healthy human and family. They simply didn't talk about all the other ways in which families and love and human sexuality are infinitely diverse. Okay, they did occasionally make references to those sick people in San Francisco. I was raised in Reno. Those sick people in San Francisco, meaning the gay men in the gay community there. I didn't learn that women could be gay too until I was in high school, and my two closest friends came out as a couple. And bisexuality, what even was that? Not to mention asexual or aromantic or ethically non-monogamous or non-binary or genderqueer or intersex or any of the other ways humans are so very diverse, so very normally diverse. In the world I grew up in, you are either one or the other, boy or girl, married or not, sinful or safe. As a little kid, I don't think my mom actually knew what to do with me. I mean, I know my parents loved me, but I think I confused them. I hated dresses. I really hated lace and black patent leather Mary Janes. My mother thought it would be a real treat for me to have my fingernails painted. Now, clear or pale pink, mind you, for a piano recital. But no, I hated that too. I thought boys were great for playing tags with, but not much else. And girl games, those were just stupid. And oh, the things I did not know about my own body. I don't even think I knew most of the questions I wanted to ask. And if I had asked them, there would not have been answers. Because I didn't know, because I didn't have the words for who I was or how I felt, when I did start figuring relationships out as a teenager, I drifted into fitting into a lot of things that were never really me, but were, I thought, the only choice I had. Shame and fear are powerful motivators for conformity. That set the stage for many uncomfortable and often painful years of questioning and poking at the story I'd grown up with to believe was the right way. I wonder how the course of my life would have been different if I had been told a multiplicity of stories, if stories like the ones we heard at the beginning had been part of my world view from the start. So I invite you to rise as you are willing and able and join us in singing our next hymn.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle?
During the month of November, we are sharing our offering with an organization called Voices of the Experienced, or VOTE. And this is some information from their website about the work that they do. They work to restore the voting rights of formerly incarcerated people and people with convictions by changing voting policies, canvassing in neighborhoods and communities, hosting voter registration drives, and educating the public on the civil and human rights of those with convictions. They're also expanding this kind of work to medical rights, employment rights, housing rights, and general policy reform. So let's support them. The offering will now be generously given and received.
OWL is turning 25. This year marks the 25th anniversary of OWL, Our Whole Lives. It's a set of comprehensive sexuality curricula for various age groups developed in 1999 by the Unitarian Universalist Association in partnership with the United Church of Christ. And the timing couldn't be better or more important. Just 14% of middle schools and 38% of high schools in the United States teach all 19 topics that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention identify as essential to comprehensive sex education. This is according to SICUS, the Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States, a national voice for sex education since 1964. And there was a 127.5% increase in anti-sex ed education between 2022 and the first half of 2023. The OWL series includes curricula for people in 7 age groups: age K1, 4-6, 7-9, 10-12, young adult, adult, and as of 2019, OWL for older adults. The older adult segment was developed to address the specific questions and needs of mature adults, such as current dating norms, age-related mental and physical changes, and grandparents as sexuality educators. There's a lot that needs to be talked about where sexuality is concerned, says Melanie Davis, the program director for OWL at the Unitarian Universalist Association. It's not about whether you're having sex or interested in sex or falling in love, or whether you're 13 or 83. OWL does not make any assumptions about what people are doing with their bodies, but rather helps them have information so that the choices they make and the ways they feel about their bodies will always foster their well-being and happiness.
OWL does not make any assumptions about what people are doing with their bodies, but rather helps them have information so the choices they make and the way they feel about their bodies fosters their well-being and happiness. There were so many assumptions embedded in the stories about human sexuality and normalcy that I was taught as a child, both spoken and unspoken, and I wanted something better and different for my own children. So I put a lot of work when they were young into helping them build a better relationship with their bodies and an awareness of a much bigger world than the one I had been raised in. We found a Unitarian Universalist church when they were 3, 7, and 9, and in a couple of years, when my oldest was eligible for OWL, we signed up. And it was such joy to be in a place where questions were not only welcomed, but answered honestly and openly, and where there were other people who didn't fit into little binary boxes and yet were happy and healthy and secure. It was such a juxtaposition to the stories I'd been raised with. It helped me settle into being comfortable in my own skin, and it was one more step in a lifelong healing journey of self-acceptance. So often when people think about sex ed, they think it's all about contraception and avoiding STIs. That is certainly what I was expecting when I signed my firstborn up for OWL so many years ago. But good sexuality education has a holistic view of sexuality beyond just sexual activity. It includes sensuality, that is, taking pleasure in all of our senses, as we heard in the invocation. It includes intimacy and vulnerability and emotional closeness, self-awareness, biological and reproductive health, identity, and how power is expressed through sexuality. As an OWL facilitator and trainer, I now have a lot more formal language around why OWL is such a vital part of our faith tradition. So here goes. Bear with me. It's going to get a lot more didactic and a lot less storytelling for just a few minutes, promise. Unitarian Universalism sees sexual expression as an affirming part of the human experience. We support everyone's right to learn about and engage in sex in consensual, pleasurable, developmentally appropriate ways. And we also acknowledge that sexuality in our society has been damaged by violence, exploitation, alienation, dishonesty, abuse of power, and the treatment of people as objects. Scientific evidence is central to Unitarian Universalist perspectives on sexuality. We trust statistics showing that education decreases rates of unintended pregnancy and improves health outcomes. We know that honoring each person's sexual identity decreases self-harm. We know that sexual expression is a developmental process that begins in infancy and lasts throughout our lives. We know that consent education decreases sexual assault. OWL itself, the curriculum, is founded on and framed by 4 values at all the levels we teach. Self-worth, the belief that people at all ages and stages are entitled to dignity and self-worth and to their own attitudes and beliefs about sexuality. This is one of the places where bodily autonomy comes in. Responsibility. We enrich our lives by expressing sexuality in ways that enhance human wholeness and fulfillment and that express delight, pleasure, responsible sexual choices, love, and commitment. Sexual health. Knowledge about human sexuality is helpful, not harmful. Every human being has the right to accurate information about sexuality and to have our questions answered. Healthy sexual relationships are consensual, non-exploitative, mutually pleasurable, safe, developmentally appropriate, respectful, and based on mutual expectations and caring. Justice and inclusivity. People of all ages, races, ethnicities, genders, backgrounds, income levels, physical and mental abilities, and sexual orientations must have equal value and rights when it comes to sexuality. And this faith Context is important because liberal religious sexuality education gives children, youth, and adults a safe forum in which to make meaning of their lives. OWL programs transform a cultural climate of confusion and fear about sexuality into a reality in which every person's inherent worth and dignity is valued. I'd like you to stay seated and as we sing this next hymn all together.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind.
I loved OWL. It was fantastic. It's been a life-changing experience, honestly. It is so important to be in a safe space where we can talk about these things. I want everybody to have access to the knowledge I get from OWL because it is shocking the amount of knowledge that people just don't have.
That testimonial is from Isla Meisenberg. She is 16 years old. She goes to the First Universalist Church of Minneapolis. She attended OWL in 8th grade and again in 10th grade, and that prompted her to join their local Planned Parenthood's Teen Council. That testimonial is one of several from the article in UU World published in March 2025. Here's another quote from another OWL graduate, Max Larson, who's 18 and goes to the First Unitarian Society in Milwaukee. In my high school, people, specifically the straight male crowd that I'm a part of, have very different values than me about how to treat women and how to treat others in general that is really concerning to experience. There's a lot of toxic masculinity. In OWL, we talked about staying true to our values and living our values. That has helped me a lot. And here's another OWL story from Melanie Davis about a woman in her 70s who mistakenly walked into an OWL for older adults class at her congregation. When she realized her mistake, she told the director of religious education, "I don't need this class, I'm a widow, I'm not even dating anyone." Her friends encouraged her to stay, and at the end of the 12-week program, she proudly told the group, "I just tossed out my ratty old pajamas and bought a pair that feels wonderful against my skin because I know I deserve that kind of pleasure and I don't need someone else to appreciate it." These three anecdotes are counterweights to the kinds of stories that I grew up with. They are microcosmic examples of a larger truth, that the work we do in our whole lives is life-affirming, life-giving, life-saving. And I am so proud to be part of a faith tradition, one of the two that created it, and to be part of a church that supports it. And so, a little bit about what we do here. We teach OWL at K1. I call that Baby OWL because it's all about bodies and accurate names and families and what happens when a baby joins a family and whose body is it? Your right to consent to somebody to hug you or not. We teach it again in 4th, 5th grade OWL, puberty OWL, and that focuses a lot more on the physical changes that people are going through, but it also focuses on relationships, on friendships. How do you ask somebody to do something with you? How do you know who you want to be around? What makes a healthy relationship? We teach it again at 7th and 8th grade. That is the long, year-long version, although I understand they're hoping to shorten it, which would be wonderful. A year is a long time. But a year also covers everything you wanted to know about sex, but were afraid to ask your parents. It is relationships, it is consent, it is social media, it is friendship, it is, again, healthy relationships. How do you know when it's a good relationship and not? We teach it again at 10th, 12th grade. This year, we're off from K1, 4, 5, and 7, 8. This year, we will be teaching in the spring 10th through 12th grade OWL, and those classes are open to the community. So if you know a 10th through 12th grader or a family with a 10th through 12th grader, please share that information. We are doing a training, hopefully in February, for adult OWL. And after that, we will start a course of adult OWL classes for young adults, for adults, and for older adults as well. So that's a little microcosm of what this church is doing for OWL right now. I wanted to share with you my mantra for the times, surviving the times that we are living in. You have probably heard me say it before, because I say it often. Joy is resistance. Community is resilience. Do one thing that brings you joy every day. You cannot do it all. Folks, find one thing and focus on that. OWL is one of the things that I can do. I can't fix all the things, but I can pour my energy into a program that changes lives, in communities that share my priorities. Together, we can ensure that this is a place where folks can feel safe and welcomed for who they are. We can offer religious education where people of all ages learn the information that they need to make good decisions for themselves. We can create stories where each of us can be embodied in the fullness of our humanity, where glitter and courage make rainbows blossom, where we celebrate that love is truly what it takes to make a family. Together, we can make a difference in a world that needs all of the light and hope that we can get. Friends, we are not alone. It makes a difference. It really does. So let's join together in singing our closing hymn.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away.
And so, friends, as we go out into the week that comes, may you find a way to make the world a little better place because you were here. And may you know that you are loved for who you are. Go in peace and go in love.